Auto Pros on the Road is sponsored by Autolite, manufacturers of high-quality spark plugs since 1935. Visit Autolite.com for more information.
Well, Mr. Joe, I think we're looking forward to I know we're looking forward to another beautiful day down here in North Carolina. Where are we headed today?
Today we are headed to Mooresville, North Carolina, just a little north of the Charlotte area. Tons of racing history in this area and a ton of race teams as well. But we're going to be going to a shop called STR Automotive, and Ryan and Spencer are the owners of this shop. They got a unique little story where I think we're going to want to hear what they got, and they do a lot of different things here, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm excited. I did look on the interwebs
Yes.
Before we came down here, and this Mooresville area is known as Race City because there's all sorts of racing history and stuff going on here. So I'm definitely really excited to see what they've got going on at the shop.
There's a ton of race teams. There's a dragway around here. We're not far from the speedway either.
Cool.
And I know Ryan and Spencer get into a lot of 4x4s and some performance stuff as well, so this should be a lot of fun.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
What's the manners? Open that door.
I gotcha.
Jeez, Joe.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's
How
going
are
on?
you?
Welcome
Good
in.
morning.
Joe.
Ryan, Spencer.
Nice
Pleasure.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
We're gonna dance in a minute, so
We got the
get
whole-
ready.
get the
Brace
twirl going.
yourselves. Thank you so much.
Spencer and Ryan, right? Okay,
Correct.
Great.
Yep.
Awesome.
Great,
Thank you
yeah.
so much for letting us stop by.
Welcome in.
Yeah,
We
thanks for having
appreciate you.
Yep.
So what's going on here today? What's going on this morning?
Just normal stuff, just busy. You know, cars rolling in, fixing cars rolling out.
Yeah. I mean, in a nutshell, yes. But yeah, we couldn't help but notice what a busy location. You've already got people in your waiting room.
Oh
We've
yeah.
been fortunate. We've definitely been very fortunate.
Good.
Yeah, it's a great area too, isn't it? It's
growing
for this
like
area.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the whole area is blowing up. I mean, just people moving in here, and like the problem we're having is just space. Is like we're not big enough to accommodate all of the business that we're getting. It seems like.
That's
but,
a
yeah.
good problem to have, though. And
Yeah.
you know, you could be going the opposite way, where you're like, I got you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good. So again, so tell me, is I've heard Charlotte and I've heard Mooresville. I hear Mooresville is actually Race City, USA, and I hear Charlotte tries to say that too. Which one's the right one?
If you look at the books, man, Mooresville, this is where everybody's at.
That's where I've
I
heard.
mean, you've got Charlotte Motor Speedway down in Concord, but there's so many shops around here. There's so many drivers that live in the area. It's a quaint little town, but it's a pretty cool little town to say the least.
Yeah, we drove past like all sorts of race team signs, and there's a indoor karting track that I'm going to whip Joe on later.
Yep.
You know, there's all sorts of racing stuff going on up here, which I had no idea, to be honest. So
Yep.
I'm really, really excited to see what you guys have going on here at the shop, and as well as just kind of check out this whole area.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Plenty of race shops and cool,
Yeah.
stuff like that happening around here.
So the STR, Spencer, Ryan. What's the T? Where does that come from in the STR Automotive world?
Well, so we we considered it our team. When we decided to open STR going on 5 years ago, we worked for a larger conglomerate, a franchise that we saw the writing on the wall. We didn't want to be in the corporate, side of things with that. We saw how they ran their stuff, and it kind of set a blueprint on how we wanted to do things. It was pretty opposite of being that big guy. We didn't want customers coming in feeling pressured, pushed. We wanted to deliver an honest message at a fair price, and integrity was a big thing with us. So we brought our team with us. So it was Spencer, Ryan, and our team.
Right on.
That's a real political way of saying it. I think it was initially it was S and R, Spencer and Ryan, and then because we were like service and repairs because we didn't want to sell tires.
Right.
And then when the team was coming along, we were like, well, we want to have them in the name too, so we'll have the T. You're like, what's T going to be? It's going to be, well, I guess tires. And we're like, God, I don't want to sell tires. I guess. And so then it became STR.
Yeah.
That seems to be a common theme that I've heard in some of these smaller independent shops is the focus on customers and doing it right. And I hear a lot of I'm not looking to upsell unnecessary. I'm not looking to just get business and turn things quick as possible. Seems to be more of a common theme on the shops like yourself that have high ratings, that do very well, is that common theme, taking care of the customer, doing it right, and earning trust.
Sure.
Where you're might not be getting that from some of those larger shops like you left.
Word of mouth goes a lot further than any other marketing you can use, especially in a small town like this. Treat people right, they tell 10 people. Treat people wrong, they tell 100 people. So just do the right thing. The business will come.
It's easy enough. I mean, people overcomplicate this business. Like, it's just
nuts and bolts.
Yeah, it's just nuts and bolts, and then just tell them what's wrong, and they say yes or no. I mean, there's no
pressure.
There's no pressure about it. It's like you just see what you can offer recommendations. Be like, hey, this is what the manufacturer says. If you want to do it, cool. If you don't, it's your car. It's fine.
Sure.
But hey, they're coming with a problem. We can fix their problem. This is how much we can fix your problem for. If you want to do it, yes or no. I mean, it's just simple, straightforward. No BS. Like, we dealt with, which we didn't start out dealing with like that. We had we were working for it was a family company, so a small family-owned.
Then it got sold, right?
And then it got sold to a bigger corporation that had like 2,200 locations, and he had just come over from a company where that just happened, so he already was getting like flashbacks and PTSD from that happening, and he kind of said, "Hey man, this is probably, I think what's going to happen." And like in the first day after they sold initially, it was my day off, and I was a manager at the store, and they called me in on my day off to come meet the new ownership. Well, I came in my street clothes because of my day off, and they were like, "Why aren't you in uniform?" I'm like, "This is my day off." They're like, "Managers don't have days off." I was like, "Oh, we haven't met then." So within 15 minutes, they're asking me to put my keys on the counter to the shop, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So we talked down off that ledge, but then that was a bad taste. And I was like, "All right, dude, let's do something." And then it just progressed where they're like having you, they're keeping track of how many credit card applications you get in a day and how many flushes and alignments you do in a day. And it's like, we shouldn't be tracking that shit. Whatever comes in is what comes in. We can't dictate what breaks in the cars. We can just fix what does break on them.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, nah.
That's shocking. Wow, right out of the gate. They just absolutely set the tone and let you know that you were just a cog in the wheel, and that's it. And they're going to turn and burn, and that's their whole MO out there.
Get on board or get out. That's what it was immediately. And I was like, all right, cool. Well,
we drive by that shop every day on the way home, and the parking lot is empty.
Every day.
Wow.
Every day. And it's like, I told him, I was like, listen, they don't understand. They need us more than we need them, and we're getting ready to show them that. So, it's like, all right, we went and got us a small business loan, and
your parking lot's full.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, it says it right there. So karma sometimes can be a real.
Is your focus here more on repair, or do you do performance here?
So we prefer, honestly, the families, the soccer moms. Those are the kind of they want somewhere they can go where they trust the work getting done. And
we don't need to mess with the gear heads and stuff like that. That's not our forte. It's like the soccer moms that just want their car to be safe and know it's done and not
STR
have the hassle. And it's just, and they're willing to pay us to do that, and they come here and comfortable waiting room. And
well, that makes perfect sense, because to be honest, with Race City, I bet you there is a ton of performance stuff here, which is why I asked. But it makes sense. People just need solutions, and they need a part that's going to fit. It's going to work out, and they need to get back on the road and live their lives. Yeah. So speaking of parts and people living their lives, let's go see what's going on in the garage.
Sure. Show us around a little bit.
Come on back.
All right.
Start your passion. Whether it has 4 wheels, 2 wheels, or no wheels. Whatever your passion, ignite it with Autolite.
This is it. Over there we got kind of our service desk. Our service manager was a master tech, so he still has his box there, so he can kind of loan tools out as needed.
Sure.
And then has this whole setup over there, so that's kind of the little hole he stays in and runs the whole shop. And then it's 5 bays, 3,500 square foot, so not too big, but we pump out a lot of work out of this small area.
Cool.
So
sound down.
Toolboxes galore everywhere. The computers, the scan tools set up. The computers now looking up all the information that you need on the variety of cars we do, because we do all makes and models. So we have a lot of Euro stuff here, as well as a lot of domestic and Asian. A couple of things. We got the alignment machine here. You got something going on right now. We'll try to stay out of their way.
Yeah.
Specialty tools, but yeah, the alignment's our biggest, or probably our busiest rack. We do.
Is that your bread and butter?
We just do tons of alignments. I mean, probably 15 or so a day is what we average. And like I said, it's not a very big shop.
No,
so
it's okay.
You guys
hey, sometimes small things, big things come in small packages, as they say,
Really
right?
good things come in really small packages.
Yeah, during the winter time, we got the heaters running, so we can't get as much in here because during the summertime, which is lucky, that's usually our busy time, is that we're usually double and triple stacking bays. We'll have one up in the air, a car underneath that car, and a car parked behind that car.
Sure.
So we'll have 3 cars going, the tech jump between all 3 of them, waiting on parts or whatever. So you kind of learn to utilize your space, just because it's what you have to do.
So speaking of, you kind of mentioned it in the front room when we were chatting. Are you looking to expand this business? Are you looking?
Yeah, I mean, we're always keeping up opportunities. We went through, building this one from the ground up, and that was a pretty tough experience.
You got a really nice lobby too, and a real nice waiting area for your customers. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, let's go check it out,
All
man. All right. So through here is where our customer waiting area is.
Nice.
And this is
Smells
our resident customer.
How you doing? Good.
Jack. We actually call this the Jack room.
So Jack, you're a frequent flyer here?
Yes, I am.
If they name the room after him, I'm worried about your car.
Yeah, this is Jack one. So, we got the table made from a Volkswagen engine.
I love it.
With the pistons and everything.
I love it.
So I got that TV, and then popcorn refreshments, and then this thing is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I like that.
We didn't really plan on it being to look like a toolbox, but it kind of ended up looking like a toolbox. Waiting area keeps everybody nice and relaxed while they're in here.
Yeah.
Most people, I'd say, don't normally wait, but if they do come in here wait, there's a place for them and a place for the kids, because like I said earlier, usually soccer moms are kind of our bread and butter, and they usually have the kids with them, so they got something to keep the kids entertained.
Yeah.
So they can get maybe even a couple minutes of relief while they're here waiting.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got to get Auto Pros on the road on that TV. They should be watching that while we're here,
I know, right?
We definitely should be watching it. I totally agree with you.
Probably will now,
Yeah,
You
that's
probably might watch a little
just
bit more
on
of
loop
it.
constantly.
Yeah. Well, it's a great area. It's a very nice place to sit and relax. And if I can talk to you for a second, Jack, do you mind terribly? What keeps you coming back to this shop?
People like him.
Yeah.
I actually followed him from down the road,
Yeah.
and I actually used to sell auto parts in my career. At one time, I was a parts and service director for a GM dealership.
Oh, wow.
So I make sure I go to places who take care of me. I know they're not going to reach into my wallet every time I walk into the door,
Yeah.
and I trust what they're doing.
Love to sit down with you and Ryan a little bit and kind of get a little bit more of the backstory of you guys, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and do that.
You guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Spencer.
Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
Start your passion. Whether it has 4 wheels, 2 wheels, or no wheels. Whatever your passion, ignite it with Autolite.
The need for speed.
I think you got some.
Holler.
Ryan and you, how did you guys? Where are you guys from? How'd you guys meet up? What was your background a little bit in automotive, and Ryan's? How'd that all work out?
So, we met each other in college at UNC Charlotte, forever ago, 20 years ago. And then we worked together at P.F. Chang's, the restaurant. We were both servers. We were bartenders and servers at P.F. Chang's while we were going to school.
One of the things you said in your About You story is not only the fact that you and Ryan had enough of that and wanted to do it your way. You said something in the effect that our employees are their livelihood is on the line, that they have a stake in this as well.
Oh, yeah.
Expand what you mean by that.
You know, we try to treat our employees really well because I know how it was at the corporate places. You know, one of the things I didn't like at the corporate stuff was the atmosphere with the pay structure and stuff like that they had, where they did flat rate. And flat rate encourages the technicians to cut corners because you're beating time to make money. So you're going to cut some corners so you can make the time. I mean, it's just human nature. And then it's also faster feast or famine. You know, during the slow times, now your paycheck is bad.
Exactly.
So we didn't want to do that. So we wanted to make sure everybody here had a stake in it. So like we pay them a good salary. The time that we're open, we're only on Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, so banker hours. So, you know, the corporate places, you're working Saturdays and Sundays. You know, I was putting in 60 hours a week, you know, on average, sometimes more. Same thing with the techs. You know, you're not getting home to see your family and stuff like that, and that was important to us. So
I understand, yeah. Good philosophy.
I like that you mentioned that you were reading this book and it kind of inspired you to have this philosophy or this idea or policy, you know, business-wide. How important is continuing that education, broadening your horizons for you and for your staff?
I mean, I think it's super important. I mean, I put a big emphasis on training. That's part of like our yearly raises is on training. You gotta make sure you have your ASE. So like I require them to have 2 more ASEs each year that they're here over what they had last year. And once they reach L1 status, then they have to maintain that. And that goes into their yearly raises they get. And then we also have training through, you know, World Pack and various things that they need required to complete a certain number of training hours each year, and that goes into their yearly raise as well. And then I'm always trying to improve myself and learn new things.
So the past 2 years obviously have been very up and down, very rock and roll over all of the industries. I know particularly in automotive and in power sports, sales have just been wild, right?
Yeah.
It's just been crazy out here.
It's been good.
What do you think over the past 2 years has been your biggest hurdle, but also what has been your biggest silver lining?
Well, I mean, at first you just didn't know what was going to happen. So like in March of 2020, you know, we were killing it. Like we're 30% over year numbers, we're killing it. And then all of a sudden April, and it just like drops off the face of the earth. And like, we don't know what's going to happen, what this virus is or anything. So, you know, businesses in here, we're like, all right, guys. So there's no point in all of us being here, but you know, what we're going to do is we're still going to pay you full salary and everything like that. But we're going to have half the staff be here 1 week, the other half stay at home, so we're separated. And you guys have a week off to be with your kids because kids are out of school and stuff like that. You got that stuff. And we're gonna do a week on, week off. And we did that for 6 weeks until stuff started to we noticed business started to pick back up after that initial dip. And we're like, all right, we gotta get everybody back here. So, and we paid all the salaries during the whole time. And then it started picking back up. And it just never stopped. It kept going. And all of a sudden we're like, all right, we're blowing last year's numbers out of the water. And we basically lost April and half of May. And we're still up over last year because it just kept going so quickly. And I think some of the chip shortages in the new cars led to people not being able to buy new cars, and then that led to them buying all these used cars, and then the used car market started to shrink. So now people can't buy a used car at a reasonable price. So now they're like, all right, well, on a repair, a couple $1,000 repair where they normally go trade their car in, now they can't trade in because there's not inventory to trade it in on. So now they have to repair it. So now they're like, okay, fix it. So we're just getting people telling us to fix it, all these jobs that you would never expect them to say fix it. So it just makes us busier and busier and busier. But the biggest hurdle's probably been supply chain with parts.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, how about part? How are you getting, you know, I've heard it time and time right now. Parts are hard to get. People are kind of doing a little bit of untraditional avenues to find parts.
Yeah.
How are you guys handling that?
Well, we used to have like 1 or 2 main suppliers that we used, and now we probably have 7 or 8, and you're just having to, it's so much more time. We spend so much more time looking through all the vendors to find somebody that has one that's been on the shelf and they're brushing the dust off the box to sell it to you.
I love the vibe of the whole shop. I love the vibe of your business. It's been so fun talking with you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Spencer.
I'm glad you guys came. I mean, why'd you guys even pick us? I mean, it's just, we're just here doing our thing. It's just weird, get a random call out of the blue from somebody filming a show. We're like, all right.
there's a lot that goes into, putting the show together for Auto Pros on the road. And the one thing that's the common theme that I'm looking for is somebody that stands out, that's unique, and has a story to tell. There's a lot of the shops that are just shops. But you've got that on that you talk about, well, me and Ryan, we did it this way, we didn't like it, so we did it our way. And that you take ownership of what you have, you allow your techs to be part of that team. And yeah, of course, you also have great reviews, you have great ratings. A lot of that goes into it, so I'm not just looking for the Google reviews, I'm looking at our About Us. You do that on your website. A lot of people have a story to tell, but you don't know it. I can go on Facebook and I find out what you're doing on Facebook. I see what the customers are also saying. And again, STR keeps coming up high, high, high. That's great, but again, having something to tell and a reason that other people might want to hear about it is why we came out to see you. So I'm honored. We are too.
It's the story, and thank you for sharing your story with us. We
Thanks,
appreciate
Spencer.
you.
We really appreciate it. If you don't mind, I'd like to talk to a little bit of a couple of your techs and
do it at your own risk.
Thanks again, Spencer.
Start your passion. Whether it has 4 wheels, 2 wheels, or no wheels. Whatever your passion, ignite it with Autolite.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us, John. I appreciate it. First things first, how long have you been working on cars? And do you prefer tech or mechanic? There's like a
technician.
Technician.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to insult you and say the wrong
that's
thing.
all right.
How long have you been a technician?
Since I was 18.
Yeah.
The first little Honda and start,
Ooh, what first
tearing it up.
What did you start tearing apart when
Civic.
you were a
94
Civic?
Civic, yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's literally been your entire adult life you've been in cars. How long have you been at this shop?
3 years. Yeah,
3 years?
3 years.
3 years. Before that, what was your experience? Were you working at dealerships? Were you working at shops?
I've done dealerships. I started out in a lube shop.
Okay.
Big guy, worked my way up top, wound up being a manager, then got out of that because I was tired of the politics of it. It was a chain lube shop.
Okay.
And then went to a dealership, learned about those politics real quick.
Yeah.
Worked up through there, and then just went independent shops. I like independent shops way better. I like the smaller, the more family atmosphere. That's one of the things I like about this place. Like, you get to be friends with the people you work with, and there's nobody pulling the strings, so to speak, over you. So, I just found this place, and that was it.
Yeah, it definitely has this really great culture here at this shop, where it is this family-oriented kind of feeling. The customers are family, the team is family. Everybody, I keep hearing that word over and over again, which I think is really interesting. I love also this idea of transparency, that they make you be part of the business. As their business grows, your paycheck grows. Everybody wins here. It's rising tides raises all boats. How important is that to you?
Well, very. I mean, you're not just means to an end for them.
How do you feel also about having to continually, you are a master tech here, you're a senior tech here.
Yeah.
How much training and how much education are you still going through every year?
Trying to learn more about hybrid and electric, because that's going to be a very big thing here real soon, I feel. So
that's really interesting, and I agree with you about everyone's like electric is the future. No, it's the now. It's already here. It already exists.
Oh yeah.
What is kind of your favorite thing to work on when it comes in the shop? You're like really pumped to work on it.
I like the Euros because everybody's afraid of them.
You like a challenge.
It's the same thing. It's just different nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
So, and the parts are 3 times what everybody else's parts cost. But
yeah,
I like the Euro stuff.
So we were talking a little bit earlier about COVID time. These past few years have just been really, really very up and down and rock and roll, and some businesses were quiet and then crazy busy. I know that this business in particular has been just
ramping up. Yeah,
it's just been ramping and ramping and ramping and ramping up. What is your silver lining from COVID time? What do you think was a really good and positive takeaway?
I got to work through it.
Okay.
That was the best thing. I wasn't mandated to stay home like a whole bunch of other people were.
Yeah.
My job will still be my job, because until they can get a computer to walk over to the car and figure it out and fix it, they're still going to need us.
They're still going to need you.
We're essential employees, basically, because who's going to keep the doctor's cars running? I mean, the hospital doesn't have their own mechanics, so
Yeah.
you know, we're a necessary, you know.
Oh, I definitely think and know that you're absolutely necessary for sure. So thank you so much for your time. I super appreciate you.
ma'am. I
Thanks for
appreciate
taking
it.
the
It's
time to
pleasure
talk
meeting
to
you.
us.
Yes,
Pleasure to
ma'am.
meet you.
Thank you.
Start your passion. Whether it has 4 wheels, 2 wheels, or no wheels. Whatever your passion, ignite it with Autolite.
Red, Joe,
James.
nice to meet you. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. What do you got going on over here? I seen you were working on a little something.
Water pump alternator, 3.6.
Sounds good. So thanks for taking the time to talk to us. You know, one thing I've learned over the years, and behind every great shop where the reviews are, where everyone's talking and the customers are happy, is the guys in the back that are actually doing the work to keep that business with everyone happy, reviews, everyone coming back.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people realize how important that back shop is,
Right.
including techs like yourself
Yeah.
that have been doing this for a long time, where we just found out we've been deemed essential. You were essential during COVID and
Right,
everything
yeah.
else. What is your philosophy on when it comes to keeping your customers satisfied and keeping those customers coming back? How do you look at that, and how do you want to do that? What's your philosophy?
Well, it's just quality parts, you know, because you got to have quality parts in order to give a quality job back, you know, quality car. And you just do the best that you can with as much information as you can get, you know, because every car is different. You know, they got a different set of torque specs, different set of fasteners, different set of way, you know, different procedures.
Parts are a big part of it, but obviously your knowledge and your skill set to be able to put that part in
Right.
and diagnose it.
Well, you can't
Is
learn everything
essential.
from a book. You know, it's
Yeah.
experience. It comes down to years of turning wrenches and busting your knuckles and doing stupid things and having to fix it, you know?
Multiple times.
Right,
Hopefully
yeah,
not.
sometimes you have to. I mean, sometimes, you know, like I said, parts play a big role in that.
So how long you
Quality.
been a tech?
I've been doing it since I was 18, so I've been a tech for probably 10, 12 years plus.
Spencer was telling me that you guys, they don't do the flat rate here, that they treat you as a salaried employee.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I like it. I've never been on flat rate. I've always been on salary, but from what I understand, it's either really good or really bad. So, you know, you kind of take middle of the road. If you want really good or really bad, you might as well be on your own, you know, because that's basically what you're doing.
They were also discussing earlier that ASE certifications are important here. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about ASE certifications?
They are good. Just because you have an ASE doesn't mean that you can fix a car. It means just you know the concept.
Sure.
You know, but they are important. I mean, they give customers, you know, they feel a little easier about you fixing their car if you have a piece of paper showing that you know what you're doing. You know, so that gives them a little ease of mind.
Lately, we've got a lot of technology coming on board with a lot of the cars today.
Yeah.
You know, now we're looking at ADAS systems. The cars are stopping themselves or steering themselves into the correct lane. What are your thoughts on the technology and where it's headed with cars right now, and how you're going to keep up with it?
It's moving fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Classes online, you know, because you're a tech, you work 8 to 5. You don't have time to go to school. You know, by the time you work all day, you go home to your kids, you know, your wife or whatever. I mean, you learn a lot online, you know, through Identifix or, you know, IATN or something like that. I mean, it's just like a community base.
Yeah, absolutely.
You learn a lot through that, but you also learn a lot just doing your own research.
What are you doing currently to maintain your ASCs? Are you doing that online? Are you using the app? Are you kind of using
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of
you know,
everything.
A little bit of everything. I buy the books, study, watch videos online, do classes online, then you know, take your tests and whatnot.
What are your thoughts on electric vehicles and having to service those? We know they're already out. There's still a little bit of a gap right now between when they're going to hit these shops where they're at the dealers right now, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on electric vehicles and that whole transition that you're going to end up having to make a little bit?
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a big transition. It's going to change everything that you do. I mean, because they don't have the same components as a regular gas burning car. So, you know, to change the oil, you rotate the tires. You know, basically that's how that goes. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's going to be, you know, a lot of different things, but it may end up being simpler. You know?
Well, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
As long as you have the right training,
well,
resources.
instead of having, you know, so many different sources of power and so many different fluids and stuff, you know, you have electricity, you see, so it's kind of, I guess in some ways more stable if you can get the batteries right.
If I had a young technician walk through the door wanting to learn this trade, what would be your biggest piece of advice for them?
Go to school.
Go to school?
I mean, because you're going to have to learn electrical systems. You know, that's the biggest thing, and that's the hardest thing to learn. You know, combustion engine is not that, you know, difficult to figure out and learn. But, you know, you kind of need to know the ins and outs of the electrical system because that's what's ultimately coming, you know. So, and I have a son, and that's what he wants to do, so that's what I told him. I said, go to school, get your degree. That way, whatever happens, you get something back to fall on.
Get him a multimeter for Christmas.
Right,
and start teaching.
yeah. Multimeter, power probe.
Yeah, start teaching them young, you know. That way you can learn the right way how to do it.
Right.
You're not the first tech that I've heard saying, and I agree with you as a tech myself, electrical is the way to go.
Oh,
it
yeah.
is also, like you said, the hardest to learn because it's the hardest to teach too.
You can't visually see it.
You can
You
feel that out of it. You know, you can feel it when it bites you, but you can't see it, so it's hard to teach.
Right.
But you're right. It is going to be the thing that is the most
difficult part.
This shop is, again, that 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and Spencer referred to banker's hours. It's a nice way to be able to have a life outside of here.
Right. Yeah.
Is that important to you?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean,
were you working the Saturdays before that?
No.
Okay,
no.
Good.
I was actually working 9 to 4:30 before, so this is a little longer, you know, but it is what it is.
I'll have a talk with him if you want.
It's Spencer. He's a good guy.
They seem like both guys, and they seem like they both actually truly care about their customers and their technicians.
And that makes a big difference.
Seems
really
like there's a good culture here.
It's not all about the money. It's not all about, you know, the business, you know, per se. It's more about giving a quality product to the customer.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Red, I want to say thank you for taking the time to talk with us today and share your story.
Yeah,
So
I appreciate it.
We appreciate it too.
All right.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
So we wanted to say thank you for allowing us to come out today and visit your shop and getting to know a little bit about your philosophy, what makes you guys work, makes you unique, and again, seeing why your ratings are so high and why you have such a customer base like you do. Really want to say thank you.
We appreciate you guys coming out.
We really do appreciate it.
And thank you so much. It was so fun getting to know you and your awesome team here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Guys. Thanks. You guys have a great one.
Like, what a great day, Joe.
Great guys, great crew, great staff, great philosophy.
I know.
Everyone's working together. I love it.
I love it. You know, the phrase family keeps coming up and keeps coming around, and it's totally true.
It's great. So what do you think of STR Automotive?
I had a great day. I love talking with Ryan and Spencer. Spencer we talked to a lot today, and I think just his philosophy and his whole vibe. I love that it's just really genuine, it's really straightforward, it's really transparent, it's really just about treating the whole team as equals. You didn't get a really big feeling of like, we're way up here, our crew is way down here. I just like the whole vibe of it, to be honest. It was a really great day, and I love the techs that we talked to. They were really fun, still passionate about cars, which that's really refreshing to not have, you know, very cynical, bitter, burnt out people who work in an industry. They still are passionate about it. I thought it was a great day.
It really was, and I think that common theme we've seen over the little while that we've been doing this so far is treating people like family and treating your employees as family, and that culture, everybody working as one, really translated well today.
Absolutely. The thing I love too, there was two key quotes that really stuck out to me for today, and it was Spencer talking about, it's all just nuts and bolts.
Yes.
That really hit home for me. And then I love the phrase that he used where it was, you know, keeping the mechanics happy makes the customers happy, which in turn makes the owners happy. And it just is it's the circle of life.
Absolutely. They were great people and they gave us, you know, a lot of great things to think about. On to the next.
On to the next. Let's go see what else the Charlotte area has to offer, my friend.
If it's anything like what we've had, we're in for a hell of a treat.